Honda is usually a quiet company that just gets on with the job of building cars that are reliable and honest. The first time Honda made a fully electric car was 1996 using a brushless motor, 24 12-volt nickel metal hydride batteries. It was called an EV Plus and it could go around 80 miles, was powered by a 49 kilowatt motor. Honda tried the fuel cell car back in 2003, which resulted in the Clarity a few years later. Zoom back to 1999 and Honda released the Insight, which was first to market long before the Prius. So it's safe to say that Honda know a thing or two about electric power and how it can work in cars. One thing Honda can't control is the charging infrastructure. Some things never go according to plan, and this morning probably hasn't. But this is where I have to go again with the Honda E just to get it started. So I'm at the fast charger and I'm going to charge up the Honda again. So the doors don't open very wide here. See this bit here, they don't flap out very much, and I'm going to show you why that's a bit of a problem. Because look at the size of this charge cable. This thing weighs a ton. Look at the size of that cable. This yoke is properly heavy, and I'm a bit far away because the angle of the car park space has put me in is a bit of a problem. That plugged in. We have an issue there, and then the cable's too short. Look at the car park space. Look, I can't go any closer without having. I can't get any closer without 2,000 internet comments going, "What is your boat so far away from it?" DC CCS. We're flashing, so it seems to be charging there now. I have to do that every 150 kilometers, which I think is a bit extreme, right? That's not very far. So this is an urban cruiser. So if you haven't seen a review of this already, if you click this link that has appeared there somewhere, you'll see the first review, which reviews the exterior of it. Today is going to be more of a range test and living with it, okay? So let's start living with it. So I've just had an experience like no other. I went live on TikTok a second ago, and I had to fill this car with charge because it was a bit short on charge. Now, this charger decided it wasn't going to charge properly, and I want to point out a few other things before I leave here actually. This charger decided it wasn't going to bother its arse charging properly, so I ended up sitting here for well over an hour trying to get a charge out of a 150 kilowatt charger, which just wasn't good enough. And I think the problem was communication between the car and the charger seemed to have the problem, because the car seemed to say it was charging, but the charger said it was charging at much lower speeds than it was. So a couple of things I want to point out before we leave though. The rear camera is dirty, so this is the view you get, which isn't really much when you look at it that way, you know. It's kind of hard, and so you can see how dirty that is. But this also is the reversing camera, so you can look in the mirror and you can see out through the back window. When I flick over to the camera, it's completely white because the mirror is dirty, or because the camera's dirty. So unless you clean the cameras every time before you get in, you won't be driving very far. Anyway, let's reverse out using all our wheels and cameras, and we have cameras everywhere. As you can see, there's cameras on both sides of the car. D, go. And now here we are, 118 kilometers range. Boys, I'm going to say the word city car, okay? And I'm going to leave that word there. Don't forget that word, because that's exactly what this car is. This is designed for very short sprint runs from your home to the school and back. It's designed for that. It is not designed for what I'm about to do it. I charged this morning on that fast charger over there. It was a miserable experience, sitting there in the rain with no cover over it, plugging in the car, trying to get it started, then figuring out that it's not charging at the full speed. This can take a 100 kilowatt charge. The 51 was beside it. A man came and went in his BMW i3, and lovely guy from Scotland, owns a lot of other cars. He has Porsches and things as well. And he got his charge and left, and I'm still sitting there like a plank waiting for that charge to fill up. So the infrastructure, again, we're back to the infrastructure part of this experience, that this is not good enough. And there's that rattle. I don't know if you can hear that on the mic. I hope you can, because that rattle won't go away for some strange reason. I've tried everything, none of it's working. I've looked around at all the little components in the car that I can find, and I can't stop that rattle happening. The doors themselves feel a little bit on the flimsier side. But now let's talk about the elephant in the room, which is all of the screens. So this whole dashboard across is electronic screens. Everything you see is electronic. So starting with a mirror on this side. So this is a rear view mirror. The rear view mirror is a little blade outside the window here. So this is the rear view mirror here, which is very clear. At night time, they turn into gain city. Now, if you've never worked in the movie industry or film industry or made videos, you know what I mean when I say gain. Gain is where the camera turns up the white balance and the contrast, and it turns up everything it can inside the camera to try and brighten the screen so you can see what you're looking at. It happens to a lot of cameras when you can't control the white balance. So auto white balance at nighttime turns into little speckles on the screen. Sometimes the camera interprets them as color speckles, sometimes they're white speckles. But either way, this interprets white speckles in anything other than broad daylight. So you start to see the grain on the screen very quickly in any sort of dull experience. Not necessarily a bad thing, but in the dark, very dark night on the motorway, sometimes you will confuse the white dots for headlights in the distance. So that's that screen. Now this screen here is telling me other information about speed and battery condition, and I'm seeing other stuff when I'm charging and discharging, whatever on the screen as well. That's all there. But the top of the steering wheel completely covers the speed. Completely. I have to lower the steering wheel, push it in away from me to be able to see it. That's where it has to be, which is too far away from me, not comfortable. See, when you live with a car, sometimes it changes your experience entirely about the car. I'm going to come to the good points. Relax. There's good points. Chill. There will be definitely big good points on it. Middle screen. So this screen is swappable to that screen. So if I do that, it moves that over there and I can put something else here. So I can shift things around like that. I can move things over when I see it closer to me or whatever. But it is a touch screen. It's a tiny little button at the top. If you miss it, you hit navigation, right? So if you miss it, you do that. And navigation comes on. You need to go, hang on a second, that's not the screens I wanted. I didn't want that screen. So it becomes this kind of fight between the screens all the time. Which is perfectly okay. There's a man on his electrically assisted bicycle. I've ridden that bicycle. It's a really good bicycle. I can't name it now. Anyway, it's a good bicycle. This screen, the dual screen here in the middle, is overly complicated to live with because there's settings over there that I can't reach. General settings and things for connecting up your Bluetooth and all that sort of stuff, which you should do before you leave, obviously. But there are times where you might think, maybe the setting I'm looking for is on that side. So you press the buttons over there. But to get to them, I have to lean all the way over the car, which I'm not going to do. Speed bumps. Then you have the other mirror over that side. Now I have manual controls for the air conditioning, which are very good. I have heated seats, which are also pretty good. Heated seats on both sides here, which is very nice. And then there's this control panel down the middle, which is very, very pleasant to look at. It just has some settings on it. You can change for the gears, and then of course you have handbrake, and you can have sport mode or normal mode. There's only two modes in it. A lot of traffic around today, isn't there? Lockdown's over. So I'm moving through the centre of Portlaoise, which is the home of this car, being in a town, doing town runs, dropping kids to school, picking up stuff in the shops. That's what this car is good at. In fairness to it, that would be pretty good, except for the fact that the boot is tiny. So when you want to pick up the shopping, you can only do like a week's worth of shopping at a time rather than months worth of shopping. You're not going to fit a lot of stuff into this car. It's not very big in the boot. Now, there's two settings here for driving. So you can put on, which is one pedal driving, which is, if you're driving in traffic in the city, definitely one pedal driving is for you. That's where you need to go because you can use just a single accelerator pedal to do braking and acceleration. It's just using what I would call a retardation device. So it's retarding the power to the drive shaft, which actually gives you a little bit of power back to the engine. Very small amount. But it means you don't actually have to use the brakes to do anything. It's very predictable, very good. It's very good. You can almost brake entirely just by lifting your foot off the accelerator. And the brake lights do come on in the background as well. So that's worth doing in the city type traffic. Out in the motorway or roads, whatever, nah, wouldn't bother with that. Just turn it off. It'll be grand. Now, comfort, dampers, all good. Handling, really good. It's very sharp. Understeery, but very sharp. Even though it's rear-wheel drive, it understeers. It's like it's been pushed down by too much torque on too little grip. You know what I mean? There's not enough grip for it. Did you want to get a bit closer to the side of my car there? Put it out in front of me. Now I just braked there, but no, I didn't use the brake pedal. I just lifted my foot off the accelerator pedal. The gas, as you would call in America, but there's no gas in this spice. So a word on charging. Lads, if you're going to use public chargers regularly, you're going to have a bad time. Honestly, I've charged at the same charger twice and got 2 different speeds of charging entirely. Once I was there for 40 minutes and it charged fine, and the second time I was there for an hour and a half and it still didn't fully charge. And like, it doesn't make any sense. This does not make any sense to me. Why would you want to pay for that experience? Why would you want to sit there and pay for that? So charging at home, fine, yeah, that's okay. If you want to charge at home the whole time, but when you've only got 150 kilometers range, you eventually are going to have to charge on the street. You're eventually going to have to, because your range is so short, because you won't be able to make a round trip. Because if I drive, I have 120 kilometers range now. If I drive to Dublin and back again, I'm empty. When I drove down the other day from Honda Ireland, I had 75% battery. When I got home, I had to charge it. It's the first thing I had to do, because I was down to 10 kilometers by the time I got home, after being on the motorway. I don't like driving at 100 kilometers an hour or 80 kilometers an hour on the motorway when I'm in a hurry. I have places to go and things to do, and I want to get there on time. And driving at 80 kilometers an hour is like, what? I have to do that? So, and I meet lots of electric car owners like that, you know, driving. And the man I met this morning owns a Porsche 911, a Bentley, and a couple of other big V8 yokes back in Scotland, and drives an i3 here because it's basically free under the tax schemes for him to buy it. And he drives around here, and he just drives along 120, pulls in, charges up, drives on a bit further. He's got it nailed in his own way, but I don't have the patience for that. So while I love electric cars, I love where they're going, I still don't think there's electric cars out there that can completely replace what you do in a vehicle every day. The only ones out there that do that right now, that completely replace what you do, is Tesla. Do it very well. VW, they do it very well. The ID3 is superb on its range and what it does. The forthcoming cars that are coming out in the near future, the Peugeot E208, that was a pretty good car as a sort of a small 5-door hatchback for families. Still can't see anything. Look at a little tiny pair of headlights. That's all I can see. Out the rear view camera. That's a waste of time. Oh, by the way, everything you see here is not an option. It's all included. You just get different power units, different sort of horsepowers underneath it. You can have a higher. This is the higher horsepower one. That sun is quite nice, isn't it? Right, well, I'm going to drive on now and leave you to it. Hopefully this was enough of a review for you to be able to see what it's like to live with a little electric car with short range. Wouldn't be for me now. The short range just wouldn't work for me at all. It would work for our family car outside the front door. It would, because we do 6,000 kilometers a year, so it would work well there. But it's a bit small. As a family car, the boot's too small for it, you know, even for my kids. The 2 school bags they have fill the boot. It's kind of small, really, isn't it? Thank you very much for watching. There's so much more going on at the moment that it's kind of crazy. There's so much happening right now with me. The best thing to do is to go to streamerlinks.com/Bob Flavin just to find out where I am if you're interested. But subscribe here on YouTube. YouTube is my home and has been my home for over a decade now, even though YouTube hates me. As far as I can see, YouTube hates me. They just do. They seem to hate a lot of creators at the moment, so that's okay. But it's been my home for 10, 11 years this stage, and I still like it. There's still a great community here amongst the people. Sorry, that sun is coming straight in on top of you there. It's blinding me. It's been a really cool last couple of decades, but I'm on TikTok as well if you want to find me there. I'm on, where else am I? I'm on Instagram, I'm on, where else am I? Twitter, Facebook, all kinds of places. So you can find me in all kinds of places, really, if you're asking questions or you want to know anything. So hopefully I'll be able to continue doing what I do, what I love, which is my job, into this new decade, new year, new time, new life, new everything at the moment, isn't it? It's all very weird at the moment. As to what the new year is going to bring is a strange thing to think about. But either way, I hope I'll still be here. Thank you very much for watching, and use any of the links down below if you want to actually support the channel in some way or another. I have lots of plans for the channel for 2021, and hopefully that will be good. But I still have a few more videos to go this year. So thanks for watching, and until the next time, I will see you on the far side. What is that buzzing sound?